I would say be very mindful of what's coming in your eyes and your ears all the time, because oftentimes it makes us more frozen than more activated. So when you're hearing things that are always problems and issues, I want you guys to, instead of thinking about, oh my goodness, the word is crumbling, like everybody else, I want you to start thinking, what can I do? How can I take action?
Thank you so much for joining us today, Preston. My name is Remi Abrishami. I'm a junior, a peer counselor, and a Bring Change to Mind leader. Can you please start off by telling us about yourself and why you do what you do?
Yes, great question. A little bit about myself. My name is Preston Pollard. I'm born and raised in Anchorage, Alaska, and I'm sure some of y'all thinking, I don't know black people live there, but we do got a couple of us. And just growing up, I was super hyper, ADHD. My teachers really didn't know what to do with me, so I was placed in special ed classes. So for many years of my life, I felt discouraged, I felt down, I felt like I wasn't smart enough, felt like I wasn't good enough. But then after all these years, I realized why I was in those classes. And you're probably thinking like, what? Because they did have good pizza. We had all of our life, we had good movies we can watch, had no homework. It was great, I'm gonna be honest. But check this out, all these years later, I'm like, why was I in those classes? Well, for one reason, this is one little story to it. When you're in those classes, you feel a certain way. But instead of going by like, I'm like special ed, I would just say I'm special. And I would have an affirmation for myself. And then after all these years, I also learned that being in those classes, I've learned to have sympathy with others, because there was different kids in the class who had different disabilities. And so I was able to realize that, man, we're all connected, we're all one, even though some people might have this challenge. And so I just took that, and it's actually helped me so much. So, but starting from there, I was really, struggled with fitting in. I wasn't a great basketball player, football player, and I noticed that when I was in school, I went to the library and I opened up this magazine, and there was a picture of Tony Hawk. It changed my life. He was like flying through the air, and I was like, I want to do that. And everybody thought I was crazy. Just imagine a black kid in Alaska, all this snow, like, you ain't gonna do that. And I just had this passion in me, and I went and I saw some skateboarders who were like, it was in the summertime, they were down the street, and ended up connecting with them. And then basically from there, it was like, this is what I wanted to do. And my father bought me a cheap skateboard, and I began to practice in my garage. And then fast forward, I really had great people in my family, like my aunt and my parents. My aunt was a counselor, so anytime I had challenges, I was able to talk to her. And she really just helped me with like the art of manifesting. And I'm gonna tell you guys about that. And that's basically, it's really simple. It's really to see it, speak it, and be it. And so whenever you want something, you really have to see it in your mind. You have to visualize it, that it's finished, that it's done. So I would literally embrace the fact that I'm a professional skateboarder now, and I wasn't. But I would just visualize it, I would see it, I would be it, I would feel it, and then I would begin to practice. And then at 14, I got sponsored, and then it's kind of like things kind of went from there. But really, I went through a lot of different challenges, but everything I learned, I learned from others, I learned from people. I always tell people you have to watch and observe everything. Watch, observe everything. Watch kids, watch how even people that make mistakes, learn from everything. And so with that being said, I just began to do that, and I learned one thing is service. And if you want to find your purpose, you gotta put service out there. And so I remember watching my aunt, how she would help people, and that's kind of how everything changed when I really wanted to use my gift with skateboarding to help youth, help people, and it changed my life. So I want to challenge you guys to think about that today. I know this interview's for me, but I want y'all to think about your purpose and your service and figure out what can you do to make the world better. And that's just what changed my life so much.
Thank you so much for sharing. I love what you said about being special, because a lot of people, like, they'll be in like certain classes like I was growing up and things like that. And I feel like instead of just like sitting in that class and, feeling like an outcast or feeling bad for yourself, like, you rose above. which I really respect.
Thank you. And it was hard. I mean, when you have a dream and when you're different, when you stand out, when you don't fit in, you go through a time of isolation. And the period of isolation is extremely hard. And so with that, I had to do a lot of prayer. I had to do a lot of trying to figure out my right friend groups, because I was hanging out with some friends that weren't the best for me. And then what changed my life was somebody gave me this quote, and it says, "Show me your friends and I'll show you your future." Show me who you hang out with and I can see your future. You thinking too, ain't you thinking? Like, if I remember, let me think about this person. Or you know, and you can just all through your life, you start thinking about it. And so, yeah, just different things like that changed my life. I mean, I've many friends, not many friends, but people that I knew passed away from drinking and drugs. And so I was like, I don't want to live my life that way. I had to make decisions, and it was tough. You know, imagine going to parties and like you ain't drinking or nothing, and people looking at you. Why aren't you drinking? And you got to hold on to that. Like, I don't like to drink, but you got to continue to hold on to that. And then even when you graduate high school, graduate college, you still gonna have to hold on to what it is that you believe, because all through your life, there's gonna, like I always say, I got so much to say, but
we're here for
it. In life, the most challenging part you probably have to go through is keeping your that inner child. You never want to let your inner child drift away from you. You always want to keep that child self. And so in life, you're going to be pushed with people going to say, you got to do this. You got to be like that. And the more you be like that, you're going to feel more depressed, and you're going to feel more like you're not yourself. And then some people be 50 years old and they're like, man, I wish I would have kept myself, but I didn't, because I wanted to follow the crowd and I wanted to fit in. So I wanted to even challenge you all today is think back to when you were a kid and the things that you love to do, what makes you tick, what makes you excited, what makes you happy, what makes you joyful, what gives you that passion, and keep that all through your life. That's what people are going to be inspired by, not the people that just always following everybody, doing what everybody else is doing, So it's tough and it's challenging. But I'm here to say, me being from Alaska, special ed classes, to be sitting here today, I've been able to do some really cool things. I started from the bottom, and so when I came here, I didn't know what I was doing. Imagine coming from Alaska and you coming to LA. It was crazy.
Oh yeah.
And I got involved in music videos. I was like a background, and I was meeting different actors. I met Boo Boo Stewart. I don't know if you heard of him from Twilight, and we became friends. And then this other actor, his name is Gabriel Basso. He's in this big hit movie called The Night Agent right now. It's on Netflix, a huge show. But anyway, when he was young, I was his personal assistant. I was his driver, and that right there opened up so many doors to then I was meeting a lot of different celebrities. But then everything that was happening, I kept my identity with working with youth and working with people. So that led me to work with different celebrities, from Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie's children, being a skate coach, to other big celebrities. But with all that being said, I was working with kids in Compton too, so it didn't really matter. But what I'm saying is, your gift will make room for you. So you really have to hold on to what it is that you love and you're passionate about, and really just knowing and having that faith that it's gonna come to pass. But there's things you got to go through, and a lot of that is a lot of no's and a lot of rejection. But I always say, rejection is just redirection. Rejection is just redirection. So you have to remember these small little sayings when you go throughout your day, because life can really, it can hit you a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It can really throw you. You be like, oh, that hurt. That one. And speaking of like pain, it's our greatest connector. Pain is our greatest connector. Think about it. When you go through a problem, when you go through something, and then when you are able to identify that and really become open with it, and you can connect with somebody, and then they start opening up about their life, don't y'all connect? And it's like so amazing. It's so beautiful. So life isn't necessarily about things going perfect. It's about, it's just about, I guess, accepting what is, and having the ability to want to continue to grow, continue to be a life learner. Like I said, I brought my books, and continue to read, and just be a curious person. We're all, in this world, and sometimes we feel like, we're so special, like really like grandiose, like we get too high and mighty. And I feel like that's not always the best to go by that, but just to remain humble, appreciate every day, just appreciate that, and then figure out, how to be a blessing to others.
Yeah, I'm so moved what you had to say about like your inner child and things like that, because a lot of people, will not hold on to that. Like they'll listen to what their parents say, what their like community around them maybe wants them to do, but you decided to do you and and do what was best for you. And a lot of people are scared to do that. So I love that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's like I said, I'm happy that I did, and I look at my life now, and I really just try to get to that point. I try to sit still. I take time in the morning just to breathe. There's a technique where it's called 4-4-4. You can breathe like 4 seconds, stop 4 seconds, and she got a little on the wall too, and breathe out 4 seconds. There's different things that you can do. So I got this right here. I'll be using this if I need to smell something. You know what I'm saying? I got some lavender stuff. I'll be spraying that thing, and look, like it helped me. Like this is some guys might like, oh, that's soft. Like, no, this stuff work, because I don't drink, I don't smoke, nothing like that. So where I get my peace, I find anywhere that can give me peace, that's peace, I go to. So I go to the beach, I'll go there because that gives me peace. I'll walk in nature because that gives me peace. So find places where it's peaceful. If you know that your life is filled with anxiety and a lot of drama man, this one lady I met, she was 104 years old. She gave me some advice. She said, you know what you got to do? You got to mind your own business. Sometimes people be talking, doing all this stuff, and they be getting drama and all this, and we be so into what they doing, and that's their business. Sometimes we need to let them hold on to that. We don't need all that stress. We don't need all that drama, all that trauma and drama. We don't need that. You know what I'm saying? So, look, I don't know everything, but that thing, when she said, and I've been trying it for this whole year, when life is going chaotic, and I don't let y'all hang on to that one. I'll be listening though. I'll be like, but I'm not gonna let that, be on me and try to fix everything. And I got enough to fix on me. So you have to. It's a process. This thing, life, is a process.
Yeah, I agree completely. So because February is our Black History Month, can you please share your thoughts on the importance on schools or just like any communities celebrating Black History Month and just what that means to you?
Yeah, well, what Black History means to me is not even just the month, is every day for me. And growing up, I didn't really realize I was Black till I moved out to California. And I'm gonna tell you why, because in Alaska I grew up with more white people. I love everybody, but skateboarding and snowboarding, that's just what my the crowd was. But when I moved to California, I remember I was driving in my car. My tags were, brand new. I got pulled over by an officer. So when you Black, you know what to do. Hand on the thing, lights all, every windows down. I'm sitting up there and I'm praying. The cop pulls up. He says, what you doing around here? I'm like, I'm just driving through Hollywood like everybody else. He says, where's your drugs at? I said, I don't got no drugs. I don't do no drugs. He said, would you step out of the car, please? Had to step out of the car, puts me in handcuffs, puts me in the back of the police car, and he's just like rummaging through my car, rummaging through trying to find all this stuff. And I was praying. I was like, I don't know what's going on, but this ain't it. This is like, I was only in California for a little bit at the time, but he did come back and he says, you are from Alaska, you did tell the truth, and just don't ever come back here again. And that was like my first injury. I was like, I'm Black for real, for real. This is for real. So speaking with that, and then what I've learned growing up is when I was young, I didn't see a lot of, I didn't learn, like for instance, like if I would ask you like how many, like on top of your, like who's your favorite superheroes? If I would ask you like, who's your superheroes?
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. Who's your favorite superhero?
Batman.
Batman, okay. So when I was growing up, there wasn't like a lot of like Black superheroes. It was like everything that was Black had this like negative, Black market, Black, like, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It's like everything that was Black was negative, and then I didn't see nobody, that was doing, you know what I mean? So you really, it was tough. Now we do hear about Martin Luther King, and it's amazing, but as African Americans, we got history that goes far beyond just slavery. We talking about the building pyramids. We talking about like even the whole story with Christopher Columbus. I was reading a book just yesterday, and and this is what, you know, I'm learning more history, and it was saying like there were some Africans that came, like it was, I don't know if it was 2,000 years before Christopher Columbus came to, you know what I mean, to come to, even though there was already indigenous people here, but it was just like, you know what I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's out there that you gotta read, and so I think that's probably the toughest part is, you know, we as African Americans, we have to do a lot of more history because we grow up just learning about slavery. Now imagine all you learn about when you grow up is you're a slave or like you're less than. How would that make you feel? You don't feel empowered. You don't feel inspired. So that's what, and I don't know if you feel the same way, but we have to do so much of going back and learn like, nah, man, we invented this, we did that, whoa. And the thing is, it's not about black against white. It's to say that we're all great. And if we can get to that place, that's what makes the world better.
Yeah, you know, that's such a good point. I was just learning about this in my history class. The first woman to fly an airplane was not Amelia Earhart. I'm blanking on her name. I want to say her name was like Claudette, something like that, which is just so shocking when you hear things like that because, you know, they weren't acknowledged just because of their race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's many stories. My aunt, Jean Pollard, she's a doctor, got an honorary doctorate. There's a story in Alaska of the Alaska Highway. Alaska Highway was, you know, they built it from Canada all the way into Alaska. And at this time, there was a lot of, I think there was a war going on. It was many years ago. And what they did was they brought in African Americans from Georgia to Alaska to build this highway. Then they had the Canadians building from Canada into Alaska. So for the white counterparts, they gave them the most beautiful tents, the most beautiful heat, everything they needed. For the black people, they gave them nothing. A lot of them died, a lot of them froze to death. But guess what? Those black guys ended up beating out the Canadians and building the highway. It was the most amazing thing that ever happened, but they kept that a secret for decades and decades and decades until my aunt figured this out. She was reading newspapers, PBS, and she ended up putting this in front of the Alaska government and everything, and they gave her an honorary doctorate. Now they celebrate this highway, they give him props to these. And she found the guy who was 100 years old, he was still living to share his story about what happened. So there's so many things that, it's like, man, like, can we get something? Like they wanna push us down so much, and that's what is beautiful about black people. Like you can't hold us down. Like we are very like strong people, and that's just like, yes, I love being black. I love it. I love all cultures, of course, but it's just, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. You know, we just, you know, yeah, once we figure out how to do something, we definitely would love to try to do our best to take it to the next level.
Hi, my name is Gabby Kashanian. I'm a senior peer counselor, and I found everything you said so inspiring, and I just wanted to ask, NormanAid's focus this month is on teaching students about allyship. Yeah. What does allyship mean to you, and how do you practice it?
Great question. What allyship means to me, you know, helping out people that, you know, need help, I would say, and the person I think about is Martin Luther King, and not just, you know, obviously he was doing a lot for the injustice of African Americans, but before he passed away, there was something else that he was really inspired by, and that was the poor, I believe it was called the Poor People's Campaign. And his whole goal was to now help all people with economically. So I think he was going to bring like homeless people out and really talk about the money, you know what I mean, that issue. And so I think for you know, hearing that story and what he had planned to do, that really inspired me. And even now, I mean, I try to live my life in that way. You know, how could I be of service to others? All people. Like I'm getting ready to go to in a small village in Alaska. There's like 600 people there. And I heard about this story of some UPIC skateboarding youth. They were like skateboarding with no shoes on, and they were like, it was amazing. Just imagine the middle of nowhere. And I began to read their story, and I was captivated. And I called their mayor, and I called all these people, and I said, what's going on with these skateboarding youth? And I said, well, it's been a couple of years, and they're not doing so well right now. They're losing their language. Their suicide is up. Their youth center burned down. And I was like, I got to do something. Like, what can I do? And I feel like we got to get to that place too. Like when we see things, and I'm gonna go back to that. But what happened was after that, I just started to connect with people, and I connected with like different organizations called HUD. They have housing and different people. And so now, and then I was on the phone with them, and he was like, "Press, do you know what you're doing now?" I was like, "Well, you doing public policy." I said, "What's that?" Like, you know what I mean? I didn't, but really, it's just my heart to be of service. And so with that being said, with all the craziness that's going on today, I would say, be very mindful of what's coming in your eyes and your ears all the time, because oftentimes it makes us more frozen than more activated. So when you hearing things that are always problems and issues, I want you guys to, instead of thinking about, oh my goodness, the word is crumbling, like everybody else, I want you to start thinking, what can I do? How can I take action? What, and it doesn't have to be a huge thing, because we have global issues, but it could be a small thing, like Miss Norman here. She said, you know what, there's something I wanted to be here, and I wanted to do something. So she took action, and now look at this beautiful space, and you know what I'm saying? So always think about what can you do, and I think that, yeah, it'll work out in your favor, and you'll definitely separate you from the pack.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, because a lot of people that I know, and like me as well, like we all want to be allies, but we don't know exactly like where to start or like what to do or how to represent that. But now that you say like take action and like listen, and that was really
and it's,
to know.
Don't make things complicated. We be making stuff so complicated, like for everything has, but it doesn't have to be complicated. It could be like just start small. I would just say find a way to start small, build off that, connect with people who don't look like you. I mean, there's issues. There's a lot of issues. They're everywhere. So start small, and then, but you gotta get out of your comfort zone. Yeah. That's the most challenging part. We want to stay comfortable because we know this person. We don't want to go over there because you know what I mean. Or get with organization. We got people who go out to Skid Row, or they do different little things. Finding out just where your gift lies, and then going in and trying to help, because the issue is a lot of us are rich, but we're really poor.
That's true. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we got a lot of money, but our inside
we're not
is
doing anything about it.
Yeah. Our inside is they don't got peace.
Yeah.
You got money, but you don't got peace, so you poor. Think about it.
Yeah.
You have all these cars. My dad always would say, them cars ain't gonna be able to hug you. Oh my God. Them Rolexes ain't gonna be able to hug you. Them houses ain't gonna be, when you sitting up for real, you better have some people around you that really love you and care about you. That's the real talk. So it can go on and on and on, but I just learned from my family, I learned from people, and if I don't know, that's the philosophy I live by. And it has helped me so much, because I don't be caring about all this other stuff. Even though material is fun, you want to have nice things. I'm not saying that, but just make sure you're thinking about being wealthy inside and outside.
And how has your personal experience challenged like stereotypes or expectations that you were placed on?
Man, stereotypes have been a huge thing. Just like I said, being a black person, they expect you to be like this, do like this, act like this, and I love to just go against every grain. I think it's hilarious. I think it's funny, and it just goes to show that, again, when you find your purpose, you find the thing that's I believe it's a quote that someone said, like your gift is the thing that you do with the least amount of effort. Your gift is the thing that you do with the least. So once you find that thing, you're gonna have different pressure. But I'd rather have that pressure than having that pressure to fit in and all that. And so there was people that made fun of me. There was all of that. I went through all of that. I may have been online and people saying all sorts of stuff. And guess what? Then I get on a billboard in Times Square, New York City. Then I have my own Jones soda bottle. And then all these other, so look, and then I just had an interview that just went viral, over like 1 million views. You know what I'm saying? So look, hey, like I be saying, do you, boo-boo. You gotta do you, because people gonna say what they say. And you just have to really believe. It comes down to that like knowing you're here for a reason. Like like the affirmation, you know, my breath is my miracle, is something that I say every day. And then I'll say, I'm here for a reason. Then I'll say, I'm grateful for the small things. And then, you know, there's a whole, even on the tag, I want you guys to read it because it's an affirmation and just, you know, you want to have an affirmation for your life. Like seriously, you have to speak life, because if you don't speak life into your life, who will? Sometimes they ain't gonna do it for you. So when you wake up in the morning, you gotta say, my breath is my miracle. You gotta say, today's gonna be a great day. You gotta figure it out. You have to set the tone for your day, because once you turn on Instagram, we already like, man, I wish I was there. They traveling, they doing this, they with this person, they got that boo, or whatever it is that you want and you don't got, and then it makes us feel low, like we don't have nothing. But if we have an affirmation that sets our tone, and if we have a new way of thinking, if we have a new way of just coming into who we really are inside, we're gonna feel a lot better.
Hello, my name is Justina Chalu. I'm in the club BSU and in the club Bring Change to Mind. Everything that you said, it was really inspiring, especially like the part where you're like, be different. And I love like your mindset, because a lot of people don't have the mindset that you have. It's just so positive. And I have another question. So can you share some examples in your own life of like when you were when someone else was an ally and they made like a positive impact on your journey?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's plenty. I mean, from my mom, you know, my aunt, and then even teachers when I was in special ed classes, like they would really help me in ways, or believe in me. Like that's the thing, like they would really believe in me, and you know, even though I only had like could be a couple of teachers who did, I really hung on to those people. And then even in life now, I mean, there was times when I had these dreams of interviewing celebrities and doing different things, and then I ended up meeting the Russo brothers. They directed the Avengers, and they didn't have to do this, but like before, it was like the end game. Like remember, that was a big movie. It was like 4 years ago, but prior to that, they gave me like exclusive access to interview like Mark Ruffalo and all these huge stars, and it was all about mental health. What I'm saying is like they didn't have to do that, but for the cause and what I was about, like they really helped me. So, you know, that's what life is all about. It's about, you know, helping others, and you know, because there's different careers and stuff in different places in life. I really feel like if you have an opportunity to uplift somebody, go ahead and do that, and in all areas. Yeah, that's what I believe, and that's who I am, and yeah.
But there's also a lot of people, like they don't have that supportive background. They don't have like people around them or like family. What would you suggest for those people that feel alone, or those people that can't go to someone and talk to them, you know?
Right. That's a great question. I would say for those who are really going through things that are like very like, you know, extreme counseling, you know, mental health, you know, things like that. For the people there that maybe like, oh, I don't, you know, it's not that extreme. I would say like meditation, really, you know, prayer, sitting with yourself, getting to like, you know, journaling out your thoughts, really help, and finding those places where you feel that are peaceful, because it's not dark forever. We often think it's, you know what I'm saying, when like even in Alaska, like right now it's real dark, like dark, like you be mad, look. If you go right now, you're going to be mad because you don't see the sun. Like I was there for a whole month. I saw the sun like 3 times. And you still got to figure it out. Like, what am I going to do today? Because everybody eating and stuff. No, but the thing is about that is the sun will come out, okay? You have to hold on to that. The sun will come out. And even if it don't come out, use your affirmations and bring that sun out. You hear me? You got to bring it out. You got to like do that work though. You have to be conscious enough to say like, okay, what am I thinking right now? My thoughts are telling me I'm not good enough. And then if you go down that rabbit hole, you tell yourself like, why is this happening to me? That's that depression rabbit hole. You got to ask yourself, what is trying to emerge? What is trying to emerge right now? Maybe it's confidence, maybe it's courage. And that was something that Michael Beckwith, that's a quote that he said, but ask yourself empowering questions when you're feeling anxiety, when you're feeling anxious, so you can get your mind thinking on a more of a positive length. And then ask yourself, what am I listening to? What am I watching? if it's Instagram and you feel, cause I be on and I be knowing like, I'm not feeling good looking at this. I'm not feeling great looking at this. My spirit is like, So you have to be conscious enough to know. And that comes with being by yourself, having that time for solitude, having that time to just sit with yourself. Be comfortable with yourself, love yourself. You guys are all unique. There's nobody in this world like you. You can have twins, you got different fingerprints. I'm serious. Like, you have to know that from the bottom of your heart, like, you are special, you are unique, you are gifted, you got to know that, and you got to speak that, and you got to do it every day. You got to do it over and over again. Look at yourself. My dentist, I told you, I've been listening to everybody. My dentist, he's over there getting my teeth. I'm hurting. And he said, Preston, when you wake up, just go in the mirror and just tell yourself you love yourself. I said, that's a good idea. The dentist, we be talking. He said, just tell yourself, and you got to do it 10 times. He said, look in the mirror and tell yourself, I love you, just say it, just keep saying it to yourself. He said, it's going to make a difference. So there's different techniques I'm sharing. Try them all, try one of them, but you got to do something. You know what I mean? I know people who are a lot older and they get stuck and frozen in time because they don't want to take responsibility for things. And so life is challenging. I'm positive. Life is challenging. I want y'all to hear it. You gonna get hit. Like, I'm not talking about physical, but I'm just talking about like it's like boxing. It's like but when it's hurting, that means it's working. So when you're going through something that's hard and stuff, you got to push through that. You got to have that resilience for that. It's working. You got to push through it. Keep on pushing through. It ain't going to be dark forever. It will get bright, but you got to surround yourself with people that have the best interest for you. People who push you into your purpose. People who speak life into you. People who say, you got this. You dope. Yes, hi, whatever it is. Keep around that circle because that energy is going to just like thrust you, like you're going to be like, wow, for real. Keep that, whatever relationships you have, and read as much as you can. Be a life learner. I always say those who think they know it all really know nothing at all. So always learn, grow, humble yourself. Even if you know something, I want to challenge you to listen to it. Just think about this. Think about this for a minute. Like, we've drank different drinks, like say like a Coca-Cola or something, and we all have. I don't drink soda now, but even though we've drank Coca-Cola so often, and we know about it from, it's been around so long, there's other people, if you would meet, like say the CEO, he would be able to know more about that product than you do because he knows the ingredients or where, whatever it is. But sometimes we think we know something, we just want to be doing all the talking. Nah, even if you know something, just sit back and listen. You might learn something different. So we can keep growing. You want to keep evolving. You don't want to just like the sea is with the butterfly right there. Evolve. You want to constantly evolve. For real. We want. That's all it is. That's what life is. It's when you're working out, it hurts because it's growing. It hurts. It's growing. So if you don't want to grow, then but. So it's part of life, and I'm learning. I don't have it all figured out. So I'm in the same boat as you guys. I'm just learning. I'm just learning different things, different techniques that work for me. And but what I will say is helping people makes you feel a lot better than just collecting stuff and feeling like you the ish. You know what I'm saying? So I will say that figuring out to serve people is the best way to really to live your life. That's what I feel, and that's what keeps me going.
Finishing up the podcast, is there any last saying or anything else that you'd like to share with us? Think long term, so you won't make the wrong turn.
Can you elaborate on that?
Okay, so the greatest thing that helped me in my life when I was like 7, when I was young, I had a vision. And I was able to, even though I made some mistakes and I did all, but if you have a vision, you think long term and you can see where you're going, you can see what you want to do, it gives you a sense of boundaries. So like, okay, if you want to do this, you can't do all this other stuff because you ain't going to make it to the finish line. So that's having a vision, thinking long term. or else you can make the wrong turn, as in, you know, you can follow people who are not doing the right thing and end up where they are. So have a way to sit with yourself after this and really write down what it is that you want to do, but write it in the present moment. Just claim everything as it is now. That's what you want to do. Everything has to be finished now. It can't be like, I want to be this. I don't want to be nothing. Just, I am this. I am this. And start saying it. Write it down. So yeah, I would leave you all with that. And another advice too is like, and this is random, but it's some good advice. But my dad gave it. He's like, yeah, when you're at a red light, when it turns green, don't just like put on the gas to go. Look both ways still. Just look both ways. Take a little pause before we just peel off. So it's kind of dorky, but it can save your life too.
We would like to thank our generous sponsors and partners, Michael J. LeBeau, NormanAid Peer Counselors, KBEV, and of course, we'd like to thank our listeners. Stay safe and make today well lived.